for in continuation. Okay, so the assignment I told yesterday, the very important. Okay, as we are discussed, okay, we are discussing that we have three ledgers are there. Okay, one is OL. Example, I'm taking L1 and I'm taking L2. Three ledgers are there. Two are non-leading ledgers, and L1, OL is nothing but my leading ledger. Now, all these three ledgers we are assigning to the same company code where we call it as 1710. 1710 is nothing but my company code, and three ledgers are defined to my company code. So when I assign my fiscal year variant K4 where we call it as a fiscal year variant, when we are assigning a fiscal year variant to my company code, that is K4, by default it will be get assigned to OL. Very important, please make a note, there is no separate assignment, to the leading ledger. So by default I can see the K4 will be assigned to the OL. So yesterday, if I go back to my practical, okay, so yesterday I showed that, okay, so when we go to SPRO IMG, financial accounting for global settings, ledger, and the fiscal year and the posting periods, and we have maintained the fiscal year variant. Now what I have to do here is nothing but, okay, so I need to assign the company code to the fiscal year variant. So when you assign over here, when you take this assignment of 1710 company code, here I have assigned the fiscal year variant as a K4. Here we have seen the fiscal year variant as a K4. So this will be default. This will be get defaulted to my leading ledger. So SPRO, IMG, financial accounting, global settings, ledger. And here if you see the defined settings for ledger and the currency types. So whereas my L2 is going to be assigned with V3, and L1 is assigned with V3, and L2 I'll take it as a V6. So these are the assignment actually. I told that fiscal year variants are going to be differ from the leading ledger to the non-leading ledger, but the currency settings are defaulted from the leading ledger to non-leading ledger. Now for L1 and L2, I see V3 and V6, but for OL it is going to be the K4. So if I come here, if I select OL, that is the leading ledger, and double click on company code, default I can see here for my 1710 company code. If I see here 1710 company code, the default assignment will be the K4. Why? Because this is the K4 which we have assigned to the company code. Now this is for the leading ledger. This is for the leading ledger for the selected company code. This is for the leading ledger for the selected company code. Now, if I go back and if I select the non-leading ledger, for example, if I take a 2L and double click on assignment of company code, same thing what I do for the leading ledger. And if I go to the position and find out my company code 1710, here you can see it is a K4. By default, it will be assigned with a K4 only. But my requirement here is it should not be the K4. L1 should be the V3 and L2 should be the V6. So what I'll do here, I'll come and change here. I have option called as V3. So this assignment directly you are doing at a non-leading ledger, not a leading ledger level. It is a non-leading ledger. So for same thing I will do for L1 and L2 here. So which fiscal year variant should be assigned? Which fiscal year variant should be assigned for the non-leading ledger? So here, this is how you do the assignment for the non-leading ledgers. Whereas for the leading ledgers, you are going to be assigned directly to the company code in the assignment tab that we are going to be assigned over here. Is it clear, all of you? Any clarification?
Mahesh, so a quick question. So if it's a non-leading ledger, does the fiscal year variant have to be changed, or can it be K4? Like, why would a company have two different fiscal years?
That's what if I go back to my previous class, we discussed, okay, that's nothing but here why we are creating the non-leading ledgers. Non-leading ledgers are created for the reporting for the different accounting standards. So as I told you that K4 is in US. So for example, if I take my leading ledger, so it is for the US GAAP or something like I'm going to be using or leading ledger. Whereas for the non-leading ledgers, this non-leading ledger I'm using for the Ind AS and another non-leading ledger I'm using for the IFRS reporting. Okay, now leading ledger you are going to be, so I'll take it here. Okay, so I'll put it here. Okay, so leading ledger you are using for the local gap to address the local gap for the company code 1710. But apart from that, I have two non-leading ledgers. What is the purpose of creating the non-leading ledger? For the different reporting systems, for the different reporting system for the same company code, because I'm also doing the transactions in other countries. I'm also doing the transactions in other countries, but I don't want any legal entity should be created for L1 and L2. It has to address within the same company code only. So for that purpose, I had to create the two non-leading ledger to address the Ind AS and IFRS reporting. According to the Ind AS, my fiscal year variant is B3. According to my Australia, the fiscal year variant is going to be the B6. So here I need to address in different formats. Clear?
Okay.
Have you missed out our class on Monday, Tuesday?
Yeah, I did on Tuesday.
So we discussed this point on Tuesday class. Yes. Just go to the recording for the Tuesday's class and just let me know. Okay, if you have any doubts, just I will clarify your doubts for the next. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So this is how we do the assignment. Now, once I complete this assignment, okay, this is very good. As far as concerned, it is very good now. Okay, now we are in 2020. We are in 2019 and we came out from 2019 to 2020. Now in 2020, same thing what I do in the 2019, there is no change, because what is the no change here means every month, that is the period 1 is nothing but my January. Period 1 is nothing but my January. I open my periods on January 1st and I'll close my periods on 31st of December. There is no change. Means in 2019 also I done the same thing. January 1st is my opening period for opening and closing of the financial accounts, and 31st of March, there is no change in the date also. It is going to be. When I came to 2020 also, this is the same thing what I had to repeat here. This is the same thing I had to repeat here. This is one-time activity. This is one-time activity. Every year you're not supposed to do any kind of configurations or whatever. This is one-time activity you are going to be configuring during the initial stage of the project. Now in 2020 also same thing. No change in the date, January 1st and 31st of March. In the same thing, when I come to the April 2019, April 1st is nothing but my opening of my financial accounts, and 31st of March, my closing of my financial accounts. Here also, there is no change from 2019 to 2020. But, okay, not a but. When you do the same activity for the continuation, that 2019, 2020, and 2021 also opening and closing will be the same, then I can call it as a year independent. Very, very important, my dear friends. It is called as year independent. What is a year independent? The opening and the closing date is the same from the previous year to current year. Then I can call the current fiscal year is also called as year independent. So 2020 is nothing but my year independent. Means I'm opening my periods on 1st of January and I'm closing my accounts on 31st of March. Here I am opening my accounts on 1st of April and I'm closing my accounts on 31st of March. There is no change in the date. There is no change in the month. Opening and closing of the accounts will be at the same as my 2019 to 2020. Then I can call this 2020 fiscal year is called as my year independent. Any doubts here? First one. Anyone has any doubts? First one, year independent. What is the year independent? Somebody can tell me now.
If it has the same opening and closing date, like the following month.
Like, for example, can you give an example from the previous year to current year? What is opening and what is the closing of accounts?
So the opening is like the beginning, like 1/1, and the closing is 31st or 30th, depending on the month.
Correct. That is what exactly I call it as a year independent. Now, what is a year dependent? Now here, if I go back one step back, and if I select my fiscal year variant, now I'll go to the I'll go to K4. K4 is the standard fiscal year variant for Okay, now here I go to this. Why the people have changed this? It should be the calendar year only. Every time, make sure that K4 is always called as a calendar year. Don't do any. I'll request other people's also. So this is the calendar year. Okay, so I should not. It should not be changed. Okay. Now, if I see here K4, K4 is nothing but my calendar year following the same calendar year months as the opening and closing of my financial account. So here I have a checkbox called as select the checking. Now here one more checkbox is there, which we call it as a year dependent. When should I select this year dependent? Now, when should I select this year dependent? Not only for K4, I'll do it for V3, V6, V9 also, any fiscal year, but here I'm taking the example as a K4, that's all, okay? So when should I select the checkbox as a year dependent? Now, you have done with the 2019 example, you take like this, okay, you are done with the 2019, you have opened your accounts on 1st of January and you're closing your accounts on 31st of March, very good. But when you come to 2020, there are some rare cases where when you are acquiring a company, something like when you are acquiring a new company or when you are adding a new company to your existing company, there will be some rare cases where exactly, for example, I'm acquiring an Indian company. I'm acquiring an Indian company or something like I'm acquiring a German company, whatever, maybe they have the different fiscal years or they have the same fiscal year, whatever maybe. Now, when I take a new company in 2020, the acquisition has been done on not on 1st of January actually. The acquisition is nothing but when I'm purchasing a new company in the same country or whatever maybe. You can take it as same country. Okay. So I'm going to be taking this country in the mid of January, means I acquired this company on 10th of January. On 10th of January, for example, I'm going to be taking like this, 10th of January. So my accounting, because the acquisition has been done on 10th of January, so operations are starting from 11th or 12th, whatever maybe, or on the same day of 10th of January. Now, when you see here in the month of January, actually the opening and closing of the financial account should be started from 1st January. But here I'm opening my period on 1st, I'm opening my period as a January, but the opening date is not on 1st. The opening date means I'm doing my operations, means the day-to-day transactions are getting posted on 10th, from the 10th of January, not on 1st of January, because the acquisition has been taken place on 10th. So I'm starting my company, I'm starting my operations from the 10th. So the recording of all the financial transactions has started from 10th January. So what is happening here? When I take the days, it is not 31st days. It is not a 31st days. It will be 21 days only. It will be 21 days only, not 31 days. So the January will be only 21 days and the remaining all the days will be as the same as normal fiscal year variant. As a normal fiscal year variant. Here I see something like it is a year dependent. I can call it as a year dependent. Only 2020 financial year is a year dependent. When I go to 2021, again I'll start my fiscal year from 1st January to 31st of December. So here again in 2021, it will be 31 days only, back to 31. But only for 2020, it will be considered as a 21 days, where the opening and closing of financial accounts are deferred from my previous fiscal year variant. That is what exactly 2019. Then the current year, the 2020, where you are considering the 21 days in the month of January, then I can call it as a year dependent. Then I call it as a year dependent, only for 1 year. This is not for the regular. So I had to do some changes at my fiscal year variant. If there is no change, no need of doing any kind of changes. But here there is a change of making the fiscal year for the January period as a 21 days. So what I will do here, I need to come and select the checkbox. I need to come and do the selecting of the checkbox. Then I need to save it. So choose either year dependent or the calendar year. Very, very important. This is what exactly I'm getting the error. What does it mean? That if you are choosing calendar year, then the calendar year should contain 365 days, my dear friend. But here you are considering only 21 days in the month of January. So it is less than 365 days. Yes, your periods are going to be the same as your calendar month only, but the days are going to be limited up to 355 days, not 365 days, whatever may be the reason. So in that case, if you're selecting as a year dependent, don't select the calendar year for only for 1 year. This is for 2020. Only for 2020, this is going to be considered. If we are selecting both, the system will not accept. So I'm deselecting the calendar because it is a non-calendar year. This is what exactly I can call it. This is a non-calendar. Now I'll press enter. Now year dependent data. Now it is accepting here. Period allocation must be specified. Okay, everything. Now the data was saved. I selected as a year dependent. Now what I'll do is I'll select the number of posting periods will be 12 only, but the days are very less. The days are less comparing with my previous fiscal year, that is January month. Periods will be 12 only. Consider the 12 periods. Now double click on periods here. See, now it is asking the year. Which year? Which calendar year? 2020 calendar year. 2020 calendar year. Very, very important this is. In 2020 calendar year, I'm making the January as a 21 days, not as a 31 days. Only for 1 year. It is not for next year. That 2021, no. Now, I had to go to the new entry. I should have to go to the new entry because I'm changing the settings of K4. Now, my company is asking me. My client is very specific about this kind of changes. Hey, Mahesh, stop. Why you are doing these changes in the standard fiscal year variant? Why you are touching this? Why you are touching the K4? Don't touch, please. Come back. Just make it as the same settings what you have done earlier. Okay, right. I'll do this. This is the real time explaining. This is how we do in the real time. Just select the calendar year. Okay, remove this year dependent and make the settings as it is. Don't do any changes in the K4. Don't do any changes in the K4. Okay. But how should I address the current fiscal year variant, that is which contains only, you're talking about only the 21 days. So what I'll do here, I'll go, please create a new one. Go to the new entry. Very, very important. So 20 example, I'm giving 2020. So I'm going to be giving here Jan to December with 4 special periods. Example, and I'll not select as a calendar year. I'll select as a year dependent, and 12 plus 4, totally 16 periods are coming. Okay, very good. Now just take it as like the same thing. Okay. Now select this 20. Select this 20. Now you go for a new periods. Only for 2020, I had to do this activity. Only for 2020, I need to do this activity and press enter. Yes, go for the new entry. Now do the same thing, copy everything and paste here. Now here I see 21 days are there. Now here I see the 21 days are there, not 31 days. Here I see 21 days are there only for the year of calendar year of 2020. Please, very, very important. Year dependent or independent, everything will be calculated based on the calendar year only. Calendar year is the base for you to define the fiscal year variant. If there is no calendar year, no fiscal year variant. Very, very important. Now I had to save it. Now here the data was saved without any errors, but in the month of January I have only 21 days. That is the reason what I have done here. I selected 20. That is nothing but any 2 alphanumerical values. Because I have given 20 bits, it will be easy for me to remember. So I selected the year dependent. Now take this 20. Take this 20 and go to my company code. Just assign it with the replacement of K4. That's all you have to do. Just you have to do only this change. Just remain 20. I just put it as a 20. Now here, current year fiscal year variant for the 1710 will be the 20. That is where the January will contain only 21 days, not as a 31 days. Once I complete this activity till the December 31st, once I complete this activity till the month of December 31st, next year 2021, what I will do here, 2021, what I will do here, I will not do any kind of changes in any fiscal year. Just I'll come back here and I'll remove this 20 and I'll replace it with K4 directly, because already K4 is the standard fiscal year variant here. Because 2021 is nothing but my year independent calendar year, so I should not change anything. So just I'll do this activity only for 2020 only. I have assigned 20 as my fiscal year variant to my company code. This is called as year dependent. Year dependent is on calendar year. Please make a note. This is a damn sure 100% certification question. So it is a certification question, I'm telling. Year dependent will be based on your calendar year, not on the fiscal year. Any doubts between year dependent and year independent? Any doubts? Yes or no? Why today very silent? Everybody know? Huh?
No, we understand it, Mahesh. We understand it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So if I get a reciprocate from your side, that I'll be confident that okay, my students are getting understand what I'm saying. Otherwise,
You are good.
I'll be in a dilemma.
Whether
I'm putting something wrong to my students or whether my students are not understanding my explanation, whatever maybe. So I'll be in a dilemma so that okay, so the entire day will be collapsed.
No, you are good. We understand everything. Thank you.
Okay. Now next one is called as the shorthand fiscal year. The word itself is telling the shorthand. What is the shorthand? The shorthand is nothing but which contains less than 12 periods. Very, very important. The shorthand is nothing but which contains less than 12 periods in a fiscal year is going to be called as shorthand fiscal year. Any shorthand, something like if you are missing something like if I am acquiring a new company or I have my factory has undergone some renovation due to some fire accident. So I had to shut down my factory for next 3 months. No operations should be performed. No operations are performed. No manufacturing. Nothing is going to be done. No financial accounting entries are posted till my factory is going to be reback with my all the modifications. So there are some natural calamities, something like which is going to be affecting to your company's day-to-day activities. Whatever may be the reason, something like there will be something, there should be there's something in a complete world. We have seen so many things like that. Now, when there is a shortage of any periods in a complete fiscal year, any shortage, 6 months or 7 months or 8 months or remaining 3 months only, I'm doing my operations. Remaining 1 to 9 months, 1 to 8 months, I 1 to 9 months, I shut down my factory and I opened my factory on 10th October. That is nothing but 1st of October. So I performed only 3 months of my activities in my company, or I performed only 5 months of activity in my company. I performed only 6 months of activity in my company. There is shorthand here. My fiscal year is completely shorthand for the period. So what I have to do here? Then in that case, same thing, it is a year dependent only. Same thing, it is a year dependent, but I'm making it as a shorthand. So what I'll do here, come to the new entry. Same thing, I'll take 20 only because we are playing with 20. So I'll take the 20. Where is my 20? Here it is a 20 here. Same thing, I'll play with the 20 only. The number of periods which I'm going to be using, for example, the number of periods which I'm going to be using only 6. So I'm changing here 6. Earlier it was 12, but I'm shortened with 6 periods. I told that there will be several reasons will be there. Okay, now very good. Okay, save it. Okay, fiscal year variant 20 defined. Very, very important. See the information. It is not an error. It is the information. It is a warning to you. Define 006 periods in the Jan. Okay, that is nothing but JAHR. JAHR is nothing but it's a field name for your fiscal year. That is 2020. Very good. Press enter. Okay, now I maintained as a 6 periods. Now double click on periods. Double click on periods. 2020. Now here, if I see here, everything is, so I need to change it. Okay, so if I see here, everything is going to be the remaining, but I need to make it as the shorthand. What I have to do, I need to come here now, shorthand fiscal years. I need to click on shorthand fiscal year. Which year? Only for 1 year. And if you observe very, very carefully, in the year independent, it is asking you the calendar year. See why? It is asking you the calendar year. But when you come to the shorthand, it is asking you the fiscal year. See the difference here. If it is a year dependent, you are doing the dependent on the current calendar year. But when you come to the short-end fiscal year, the short-end fiscal year should be given with fiscal year, not as a calendar. If you see here, this should be the fiscal year. So which fiscal year you want to make it as a short end? I want to make it as a short end for 2020 financial year. Here you are clearly specifying which year it is. Now I need to press enter. Only for 1 year it is. The remaining after the next year, same Jan to December. No, I may automatically I want to make it as a year independent. From next year means 2021. Go to the new entries. And here it is asking number of short-end fiscal years, number of posting periods, only 6. Only 6. So here I'm giving the number of periods here. Either you can use from Jan to December, either you can use from Jan to June or July to December or from March to October, whatever may be. 6 periods you are going to be taken into consideration here. 6 periods, which are shortened for the remaining 6 periods. If I call it as a fiscal year, it should be taken as a 12 periods, but here the short end is 6 periods. So I'll press enter. So short end fiscal year can be, okay, because less than, okay. So because I've taken 5 over there. So here I'm going to be taking 5. Now I've chosen here, save it, because there I've taken as 5. So now I have to maintain here. So less than periods of 6. Okay, now it is going to be coming. Now what happened to the remaining periods? Short end. Short end means it is going to be used for your factory renovations. Your factory has been closed. Whatever may be the natural calamities, your factory has been collapsed. So whatever may be something like your financial accounting entries are not going to be taken into consideration. This is how the short end fiscal year is going to be taken into consideration. So normally these all the fiscal years. So normally when you come to the year dependent and short end, this is only for current calendar year and current fiscal year. But when you take it as a year independent, this is going to be completely based on your fiscal year, not on the calendar year. Very, very important. Year independent. Only the year dependent will be on the calendar year. Dependent will be based as a calendar. This is a certification portion. Whereas your year independent and the short-end fiscal year, these two will be coming under the financial year. That is the fiscal year. That is the complete structure you are going to be taken into consideration. This is about the fiscal year variance. Now, these are the standard 4 fiscal year variants we have in SAP S/4HANA, any SAP ECC. So instead of creating a new fiscal year, if it is meeting your requirement with K4 or V3 or V6 or V9, directly you can go and assign the fiscal year variant to your company code. Any fiscal year you can go and assign to the company code. Now, if I come back.
Hey Mahesh, can you go back to that screen one more time?
Which one, madam?
The Excel.
Okay.
So I had this question, but I forgot to ask you. It's like this week's question, probably not today. The extended periods that we have 13, 14, 15, 16. So if they are just adjusting entries, why do we need to have 4 periods? Why can't we just do in 1 period, any 1 period? Because they are adjusting entries, right?
That's what exactly. But tomorrow, but that's what exactly. So you're correct. You're absolutely correct. But whatever the adjustments you are making in the 13, 14, 15, 16, if you want to see, there is something should be specifically designed in SAP, because you should not be confused, or your auditor should not be confused about if you're making all the adjustments in the 14th period. So normally 14th period, now as per the accounting standard, we are going to be using for accruals and deferrals normally. For 15th like this, there is a specific reason is there. I cannot post the 12th month. See, for example, I should not post February month posting to the January. January month should not be posted to the 6th month. It will come. So to have a better understanding, so, okay, you are using 13 for the shareholders, you are using 14 for the accruals and deferrals. Yes, if we want, we can use only 1. I can adjust all these different types of postings in 1 period, either in 13, 14 or 15 or 16. But what is happening? There will be no issue. 100% there will be no issue. But tomorrow, if you want to have some reportings or something like that, so again, you have to analyze all the transactions. You have to format to the Excel sheet, something like you have to do some assignments. So instead of avoiding that, so SAP is asking you to do this kind of adjustments in different posting periods.
Okay, thank you.
Now, normally, when you come to a company, or when you talk about the company here, we are posting. So if you take a manufacturing company or any company, okay, so we normally, when we start your day, when you're starting your day, so different types of accounts are getting posted. Like I'm posting the GL transactions, I am posting some vendor account transaction like vendor invoices and the vendor payments. I'm posting something like customer. I'm posting something called as assets. I'm posting something called as the materials. Okay, something like, okay, I'm posting different types of accounts in my company actually. It's not only my manufacturing company or any company if you take, okay, so it is not restricted to I'm doing only vendor, I'm doing only customer. If you take, if I start my day in my company, so not many transactions are posted with a different account type. These all are going to be called as account types in SAP. Okay, account types. Account types. So how do you identify which account type belongs to which account type? So that is the reason SAP has given a common understanding that every account type should be identified with one character. That is what exactly we call it as. If it is a S standard, it's a standard, please. It is a standard one, okay? If it is a S, then it is called as a GL. In entire SAP world, S is means, if you find out account type S means it is a GL. If you find anywhere K means it is going to be called as your vendor. D stands for customer. A stands for material. M stands for, A stands for asset, M stands for. V for contra accounts. I tell you, okay, most of the contra. So I'll tell you what is the contra accounts. So these are the most important, actually we can call it as, these are the standard SAP account types actually. So it's a universal, please. It's a universal if you come back way back from 1979, where SAP has been first time it has been introduced in the world of SAP, in the world of, so from there till the date of 2020. So every account type is a standardized. That is nothing but S is nothing but a GL. K stands for vendor. D stands for customer, A stands for assets, M stands for material, and V stands for contra accounts. Now, if you take a company, we are posting all types of accounts. All types of accounts are getting posted for the month of January. So we can call it as the periods. Now I'll come into the opening and closing of the financial periods. Now, if I come back, one second, it has been stuck. 1 second, please. Okay. Now my fiscal year variant is a K4. Okay, now I have to define my opening and closing of my financial account. So here, if we come here, post and one was, so sorry. Before I come to this topic, actually, I need to tell something about my, sorry. I'm extremely sorry. So you're taking the K4. K4 is nothing but your calendar year. Okay, so K4 is nothing but a calendar year, 12 plus 4. Okay, K4 is nothing but a calendar year. So a fiscal year can be also be maintained as a weekly. Weekly means every calendar year or something like every fiscal year you take. Every fiscal year, V3, V6, V9, there are 52 weeks will be there. The weeks are going to be very, very important actually. So if I go into the help, it is telling me very, very important. This is a new announcement in SAP S4 and not in ECC. ECC, it is not available. In SAP S4HANA, it has been brought out. Okay, what is telling that? If it is a leap year, something like, if it is a non-leaping year, 53 weeks will be there. Something like, okay, so we can see here. Specifies that the fiscal weeks means we are going to be calling as the in a month, there will be 4 to 5 weeks will be there of the fiscal year or calculated differently from the calendar weeks. If you want to use the weeks, Here, the first week starts with the start date of your fiscal year, and all the weeks are calculated as per the periods of 7 days. Very, very important for the 7 days. So set this flag means you have to set that indicator. Means the system is telling me set this flag is nothing but you had to select this particular checkbox. Set this flag if you want the weeks of your fiscal year to be calculated in such a way that the first day of the week matches the start day of your fiscal year. What does it mean that? Now I'll take the first day, first month. I'll just take this period. Okay, I'll put it here. I'll put it here. 31 days are there. Now I'll go to my calendar. This is my January. This is my month of January. So the week is getting started from the Wednesday. The week is getting started from the Wednesday here. So Wednesday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here, the first week. The first week. It is going to be for 7 days. First week. And then normally for second week. Second week. If you want like this weekly calendar, that is very, very important here. So most of the companies now they are doing this activity like that only. Okay, but if you calculate, it should be coming about 31 days. How it will be coming 31 days? If I come to the month of January, anyhow you have left out these 2 days now. Anyhow you have left out these 2 days because it is coming about 2, 4. So how many days are left? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So these 4 days will be taken as a period of January if you are calculating based on the weekly, because here we are starting from the month of January. From the 1st of January, that will be coming under the week of Wednesday. The first week is going to be starting with Wednesday. So 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. First week, second week, third week, fourth week, and here I'm going to be having 5th week also. Here I'm going to be having the 5th week, but the 5th week is followed with the next month. 5th week is going to be followed with the next month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here by I completing my complete month of January. Till what date? Till the 4th of February, my complete January will be completed. So totally, if you see here, 31 days are going to be calculated. So what is the SAP is clearly telling to me here? Set this flag here. You can see here. Okay, see here. Here the week. First week starts with the start date. Very, very important. See here. The first week starts with the start date of your fiscal year, and all weeks are calculated as per the period of 7 days. Very, very important. Very, very important. If you want to do this activity like this. No, Mahesh, I don't want to do the like this. The first period always should be the calculated based on my period calculation only. That is non-period calculation. Then in that case, I should not select the checkbox. Means what is happening? My first period, in that case, what is happening? In that case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days only. So this is my first period. The week contains only 5 days for me. So this option you are going to be selecting if you want based on the calculating of the week for the 7 days. So okay, so set this flag if you want the weeks of the fiscal year to calculate in such a way that the first day of your week start the matches for the day of the fiscal year. This flag must be set for weekly based for the calendar year, such as for 52 to 53 weeks. Okay, weekly based calendar year have 52 weeks, or in a leap year it is a 53 weeks, blah blah blah, something like. Okay, you can study about this. This is what exactly we can call it as the weekly based calendar year. If you want to do the weekly. If you don't want to calculate based on the weekly, just remove the checkbox. Nothing to be happened. Okay. And second point number 2. If you see the K4, if I see the K4, I know it is a calendar year because SAP standard itself is telling it is a calendar year because you have selected this option as a calendar year. If I double click on the period, see, just observe here very carefully. SAP is telling that periods cannot be maintained for the calendar. That is for the calendar dependent fiscal year variance. No need to maintain any fiscal. Why? For a calendar year, no need to maintain any. For non-calendar fiscal year, like April to March or October to September, whatever. For the non-calendar, for example, if you see here April to March, it is not a calendar year. I'm deselecting. Now, if I double click on the periods, now If you see here, now it will ask for the months, days, periods, and year shift for non-calendar. If it is a calendar, no need to specify any periods. System is very clear that periods cannot be maintained for the calendar year. Very, very important. Why? Because in the program, in the backend program itself is already we have a factory calendar, something like already created, so it will take out from there. So no need to create any kind of months, days, periods, and year shift for the calendar year, for the K4. For the remaining non-calendar, V3, V6, V9, we have to define that. Okay, days, months, periods, and year shift. So please make a note. So don't get surprised. Okay, don't get in assumption that Rahul has not told this. Okay, so K4 only you need to select this calendar year, and you cannot find any periods in the calendar year for the K4. Very, very important. Remaining V3, V6, V9, because they are the non-calendar. Because see here, you are not selected the checkbox. These are the non-calendar. And if I double click on the periods, I can find out the months, days, periods, and year shift here. This is, you have to observe, this is very, very important here. So there is one more option called as edit fiscal year calendar. If you want to edit anything, okay, you can have the option called as calculate attributes of your fiscal year. You can have the edit, okay, fiscal year variant I'm going to be giving here because this is the new enhancement in SAP S/4HANA. If I give V3, it will come 1 second, okay? So it is option. I'll tell you this option, okay? So you can have the option called as the edit option here. If you want to edit any kind of directly, you can do from here, or you can also do from here. I'll tell you this about this. Just park it, okay? So something is not working, I'll tell you this. So these are the two things I'll tell you. Okay, now next one, I'll come to the posting period. Same thing, dependent on your fiscal year variant. Now, if so now my fiscal year variant is proportionate to my posting period variant. How should I tell that? Mahesh, do one thing. If you come back to my fiscal year variant, okay, here my fiscal year variant. Do one thing, Mahesh. Just go to V3. Go to V3. Okay. This is V3. Okay, very good. April to March with 4 special periods, you are taken as a 12 and you are taken as a 4. Can you go for V6? V6 here. Can I go for V9? V9 is here. October to September, like that, everything is there. Same thing, K4 also. Okay. Now, if I see here, Mahesh, tell me where you have, where exactly you are telling to the SAP, this is 2020 financial year, 2021 financial year, 2030 financial year, where exactly you are specifying. Here I'm not able to see anything. Here I'm not able to see anything weekly, something like weekly. Just now you told about the weekly, fiscal year, weekly, that's all. Here, where you're specifying, this is the 2020, 2021, like that. Nothing. Nowhere in a fiscal year variant, we tell to the SAP, this is the 2020 or 21 financial year. I told that. So very, very important. This is very, very important. Fiscal year variants are defined, but you are not specifying to the company. Sorry, you're not specifying to the SAP that this is the 2020 until or unless if it is the year dependent. For all the year independence, nowhere we tell to the SAP that this is the 2020, 2021 financial year, because these are the year independent. Year independent means every month, every fiscal year, the day will be start from the calculating of the 1st of January, the day will be ending with 31st of December. If it is for V3, April 1st, 31st of March, like that. For year independent, nowhere we will specify this is 2020, 2020 financial year. But when I'm doing a posting in SAP, any transactions, if I post in SAP, how do the system knows? That you're posting for 2020, you're posting for 2021, like that? Then this is how exactly I need to do here now. Now your fiscal year variant, whatever, okay, you assigned K4 to your company code. Now go back. Come to the posting period variant. I'll tell you, this is only for make you to understand, because we are not doing the practicals. I had to tell the practical. This I want to make you to understand here. These are the account types you can see here. Just now I told these are the account types. A stands for assets, D stands for customer, K stands for vendor, M stands for material, and S stands for GLs. And if you put a plus, plus is nothing but all account type. There's the option called as the plus. Plus is nothing but all. V stands for contract accounts. And plus is nothing but if you are allowing posting for all types of account, no need to specify individually. You can directly take it as a plus. Plus is nothing but which is valid for all account types actually. So if I take a plus, it is valid for all account types. Here, when you come to the GL, GL stands for yes. Here I'm specifying the year here. Very, very important. And what is the variant? This variant I'm assigning to my company code. Now, for example, now I'll go for a new entry. I'll create a separate variant now. I'll create a separate variant, define the variant. So my variant name, I'm giving it as something like, okay, so 20 posting period. I'll give posting period variant. I'll write here posting. I'm creating a new variant, posting period variant for 1710 company code. Okay, right. Very good. You have just created the variant, just like V3, V6, V9 for fiscal year. This is the variant for the posting period variant. I created 20p. Okay, very good. Come to open and close posting periods. Now give the variant name. What you have created 20 under the 20 pp. I had to give the variant. Go for a new entry. Now here I'm putting plus. Plus is nothing but all account types. Plus is nothing but all accounts. I don't know from account and to account because customer account starts with 100 series, vendor account starts with 200 series, GL account starts with 1000 series like that. Okay, so from account you just leave it, and to account I'll put as infinity z z z z z z infinity. You can put like this. This is the real time. First period January. Here I'm going to be specifying the year. Which year? 2020. 2020. Which period you are opening? I'm opening only first period. So from period and the to period here. From period is a 1 and to period is also 1. That is for the 2020. 2020 means your January period is opened now. Your January period of 2020 is open now. Where is the company code, Mahesh? How do you tell that this January period is open for 2020 for my 1710 company code? Okay, don't worry. Okay, now I'll save it. So do not enter the account number for the masked item. Okay, so because I taken as a place, okay, I don't want to see here because I masked it. Okay, so I'll just remove it. Okay, now I saved it because I taken the place. Nah? Okay, so I saved it. But where is the company code? Tell me where is the company code? Show me the company code here. No, there is no company code. But how do you tell that this period 1? This period 1 belongs to 2020. So I created all the settings, means I maintain the settings in this variant now. Okay, so just take this variant 20p and to which company code it belongs to. Just like K4 you assign to the company code, V3 you assign to the company code. Just like I'll come to the assignment, I'll go to my company code 1710. For the same company code, see here. Okay, I'm going to be assigning the same thing. Okay, this is what exactly I'm assigning now. So company code is 1710. Okay, for 1710, I have assigned the K4. For 1710, I have assigned the 20 pp also. Same company code. Means in the 20 pp, that is my posting period, I'm telling to my SAP it is a 2020, but my 2020 pp depends on my K4 calendar year. So first period will be a January. If you are assigning the 20 pp to the non-fiscal year variant to the L1, then here, whatever the first period you are telling, that will be become March, or sorry, April. If you are assigning the 20 pp here to this L2 for the same company code, then the first period will be starting with October, with July. Very, very important. So here the assignment has to be done based on the structural level. So based on the structural level. So this is what exactly we have to do for the opening and closing of the posting period variant. So all this opening, so no, this is not a practical, just I'm making you to understand, don't make it as a practicals, please, okay? Because I need to explain more detailedly about all these things, how they are dependent, how your posting period variant is dependent on your calendar year, how this posting period variant is dependent on your fiscal year. There are a lot of things I need to explain here. These are the basics actually, very, very important basics. So the fiscal years are completely dependent. So sorry, the posting period variance are completely dependent on your fiscal year variance. Very, 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 very important. This is what exactly we have to do while you are defining the fiscal year variance. 1 second, so 1 second.
As soon as possible. So I'll go ahead and end this session. If any extra session will be there, so we'll definitely keep you updated well in advance. Thank you.